Hi, my name is Paul Henderson, and I played professional hockey for 18 years. But the highlight was being on Team Canada in 1972 in the first Canada-Russia Summit Series. And I am so glad that you people are going to be able to understand what happened in that series. And I was fortunate to score the last goal, and it was voted the sports moment of the last century. So I hope you enjoy it.
I would like to thank Paul Henderson for his terrific introduction to this video. Hello everyone, this is Romano DeFranco back with another episode of the Hockey Story series, and as I mentioned last week, we are fast approaching the 50th anniversary of the famous Summit Series between Team Canada and the Soviet Union. Game 1 took place on September 2nd, 1972, and in part 1 I talked about how everyone knows about the heroes like Paul Henderson and Phil Esposito, but there are also some unsung heroes too. In the second of my two-part episode of the Summit Series, I would like to go through the roster and give a report card for every player and show some highlights. Another thing that I mentioned last week was how the team was put together. Some of Canada's best players at the time were kept off the team because of their defection from the NHL to the upstart WHA. Harry Sinden, the Stanley Cup champion coach of the Boston Bruins, decided against putting together a superstar team and instead went with the strategy of assembling a well-balanced team complete with superstars and role players. For those of you who didn't know, Bobby Orr was selected to the team in the hope that he would be ready for the final few games, but it wasn't to be, and he hadn't sufficiently healed by the time the series ended. Given that the team had role players who were asked to perform a specific duty, spoiler alert, I will not be giving any players less than the mark of B. Players who only played in the warm-up match against Team Sweden aren't included. In case you didn't know, after the 4 games in Canada, Team Canada went to Sweden to play a couple of friendly matches against a Team Sweden lineup that would include future NHLers Anders Hedberg, Inga Hammerstrom, and Boreas Salming. So, let the fun begin! I'm going to run down the roster in numeric order. First off is a defenseman who wore number 2, Gary Bergman. Bergman played in all 8 games and registered 3 assists. He was a thorn in the side of the Russians and finished with the 3rd best plus-minus on the team. Berkey gets an A. Next up is Pat Stapleton from the Chicago Blackhawks. Whitey led Team Canada as a +7. He played in 7 games and did not register a point. Stapleton gets an A-. Brad Park played in all 8 games, and he had a goal and 4 assists, and that was good enough to earn him a tie for 5th in team scoring. Not bad for a defenseman. Park gets an A. Ron Ellis played in all 8 games and registered 3 assists. He suffered a neck injury in Game 1, but had an excellent series nonetheless. Ellis gets an A. Officially, Team Canada had no captain, but let's face it, Phil Esposito was the leader of the team. He scored the first goal in Montreal and set up the final goal in Moscow. He led both teams in points with 13, including 7 goals. And he gave a famous speech after Team Canada was booed in Vancouver. I could do an entire episode on Esposito. In the final game of the series, Espo scored Canada's first goal and he assisted on all 3 third-period goals to power Team Canada to the win. He gets an A+. And Rod Gilbert had 4 points in 6 games. He had a solid series. Gilbert gets an A-. Bill Goldsworthy played in 3 games and had a goal and assist, and he took 2 penalties in Game 4 in Vancouver that resulted in a pair of power play goals by the Soviets. Goldie had a tragic life that ended at age 51. He gets a B. Dennis Hall played in 4 games and had 2 goals and 2 assists. One of the goals came in garbage time in the loss in Vancouver and didn't play in the series as a protest to his brother Bobby's exclusion from the team. He filled in left wing after Vic Hadfield left the team, and Dennis gets a B+. Vic Hadfield was scoreless in 2 games. He was one of the players that quit the team over lack of playing time. Hadfield gets a B. Yvon Cournoyer played in all 8 games. His 3 goals trailed only Esposito and Paul Henderson. The Roadrunner finished with 5 points and he scored Team Canada's first game-winning goal of the series in Toronto and had the tying goal in the final game. Coincidentally, Cournoyer would later go on to score the game-tying goal in the 3-3 1975 New Year's Eve game featuring the Montreal Canadiens against the Soviet Union's Red Army team in what many considered the greatest game ever played. The Roadrunner gets an A+. Wayne Cashman had an assist in each of the 2 games he played in. His first game was the 4-1 win in Toronto, and his last game was the 4-4 tie in Winnipeg. So, he was undefeated against the Russians. Unfortunately, he missed the entire series in Russia after getting his tongue lacerated for 50 stitches during a warm-up match in Sweden. Cash gets an A. Red Berenson played just 2 games and had just 1 assist, but what an assist it was. He had the lone helper on the goal that put Team Canada in front for good in Game 6. Berenson gets a B+, and he would have gotten A- if it wasn't for his errant shot in practice that injured Serge Savard, keeping Savard out of the lineup for 2 critical games. Rod Sealing played in 3 games, all losses, and had no points and was a -6. He gets a B. Bill White was Pat Stapleton's defense partner in Chicago and played in the series. He played in 7 games and had a goal, an assist, and led all players with a +7, and White gets an A. Jean Radel played in 6 games and had a goal and 3 helpers. He didn't play in the games in Toronto and Vancouver, and he didn't register any penalty minutes, but that's no surprise. Coming off his Lady Byng winning season, Radel gets an A-. Paul Henderson scored the game-winning goal for Team Canada in Games 6, 7, and 8, and the Soviet team from the Summit Series has 3 players in Hockey Hall of Fame: Alexander Yakushev, Valery Harlamov, and Vladislav Tretiak. Henderson not being in the Hall of Fame is the biggest injustice in Canadian hockey. Henderson gets an A+ and is the only player that can give an A+ to that is not enshrined. Come on, Hall of Fame, make it right. Peter Mahovlich played in 7 games, missing just the game in Vancouver. He had just 2 points in the series, but his short-handed goal in Game 2 in Toronto iced the game for Team Canada and really helped to get Team Canada's mojo back. The little M gets an A-. Stan Mikita played in just 2 games, registering 1 assist on the final goal of Game 2, scored by the Big M. Team Canada was undefeated in his 2 games, and for that, Mikita gets an A- for his contribution. What can I say about JP Parisi? In the 6 games he played in, Team Canada went 4-1-1. He had 2 goals and 2 assists, and he gets an A-. It could have been an A, but that stick swinging incident, oof. Serge Savard played in 5 games, and he was a healthy scratch in Game 1, and was injured in Games 4 and 5. And Team Canada went undefeated in Savard's 5 appearances as he registered 2 points, including a lone helper on Henderson's game-winning goal in Game 7. Serge gets an A+. Mickey Redmond played just 1 game and didn't register a point. His only appearance was the stinker in Montreal. Redmond came into the series hot with an impressive 42-goal season and put up great numbers in the 72-73 season, scoring 52 goals. He gets a B in the Summit Series. Guy Lapointe played in 7 games, missing just the disappointing loss in Vancouver. His lone point came on an assist of Paul Henderson's goal in Game 5 that sent Team Canada up 3-0 before a monumental collapse that saw Team Canada give up 5 goals in the third period en route to a 5-4 loss. Lapointe gets an A. Don Orey appeared in just 2 games, which were 2 duds in Montreal and Vancouver. He didn't register any points. Orey gets a B. Frank Mahovlich played in 6 games and had a goal and an assist. Team Canada had a record of 1 win and 1 tie in the 2 games that Mahovlich didn't appear in. The Big M gets a B. So, let me ask a question to anyone old enough to have watched this series. Which one was worse, JP Parisi's stick swinging at the ref, but not actually hitting him, or Bobby Clark's 2-hander on Valery Harlamov? Now, I know it's a tough question, and the answer to that question could be a whole other episode. Regardless of how you feel about the incident that injured the Soviet star enough to keep him out of Game 7 and limit him to just one assist in Game 8, Bobby Clark had a heck of a series. Keep in mind that he was barely 23 with his birthday coming just 3 weeks before Game 1, not to mention he had battled diabetes all his life. Clark finished third in scoring for Team Canada and was arguably just as instrumental in Team Canada winning the series as Espo and Henderson. I'm giving the Flin Flon Manitoba native an A+. Kandrian went 2-2 in the series, losing both his starts in Canada and winning both his starts in Moscow. He had a goals against average of 4.75 and a save percentage of .838. Not exactly great numbers, but his play in Russia redeemed him, and Dryden gets an A-. Gilbert Perreault was actually the youngest on the team. He was just 22 when he was selected for the Summit Series. He played in just 2 games, but had a point in each. He scored Team Canada's first goal in the stinker in Vancouver and Seb Canada's first goal in the first game in Moscow. However, the Soviets won both these games, and so he was a healthy scratch for the rest of the series, but I'm going to give Perreault a very respectable A-. Tony Esposito finished with a record of 2-1-1. He had the best goals against average of any goalie in the series, and for all of the accolades thrown at Tretiak, Tonio had the exact same .882 save percentage posted by the Russian keeper, and he allowed just 13 goals to Dryden's 19. Both his loss in Moscow and his tie in Winnipeg were the result of collapses by Team Canada. In Winnipeg, Team Canada was just 92 seconds away from a win when Alexander Bogdanov got the equalizer. It was Bogdanov's only point in the series. Esposito backstopped Canada to a 4-1 lead during the first game in Russia, with just under 11 minutes to go in the game, before the Russians scored 4 straight as Harlamov set up the tying goal and game winner. No doubt about it, Esposito gets an A+. So there you have it, my report card for every player on Team Canada. I left off Ed Johnston, who was the third goalie, Rick Martin, Marcel Dion, and Jocelyn Gouvernement, who only saw action in the Sweden warm-up series, and Bunny Larocque, who was only used during practices. You can only wonder what would have happened if the Summit Series took place 1 year later in 1973 instead of 1972. Bobby Orr would have been ready and maybe add a couple of youngsters named Guy Lafleur and Larry Robinson to the mix and let Marcel Dion actually play against Russia. But isn't that the great thing about sports? Talking about the what could have beens? Before the video ends, I just want to tell you a couple more things. I read a ton of comments on YouTube by Russian fans about the Summit Series. Thank you, Google Translate, and I can tell you this. The Russian fans are just as proud of their team as Canadians are of theirs. The 50th anniversary of Game 1 of the 1972 Summit Series takes place on September 2nd, and the final game, Game 8, took place on September 28th. It was a huge deal back then, and it still is now. Sadly, just like the heroes of World War II have passed away, some of the warriors of the ice have passed away as well. Players Bill Goldsworthy, J.P. Parisi, Gary Bergman, Stan Mikita, Rick Martin, Bill White, and Tony Esposito are no longer with us, and neither is assistant coach John Ferguson. The list of Soviet Union players who have passed away is even longer. Vladimir Shardin, Evgeny Zimin, Alexander Gusev, Vladimir Petrov, Alexander Bogdanov, Alexander Regulin, Viktor Kushkin, Evgeny Palidiev, Evgeny Meshkev, and Valery Harlamov have all died. Harlamov was the first player from the series to pass away after he was killed in a car accident on August 27, 1981 at the age of 33. He was a passenger in the car driven by his wife Irina. She lost control of the car, crossed into opposing traffic, and hit a truck head-on. Again, I want to give a big thanks to Paul Henderson for introducing this video. He will always be a hero to all Canadians. Where were you when Henderson scored the biggest goal in Canadian hockey history? Who do you think deserves a different grade? Leave your comments down below. I would like to hear what you think. And until next time, this is Ramon DeFranco, and this was episode 8 of the Hockey Story series.